covering climate, weather, and the industrial enterprise from Penn State Meteorology. Here is Up in the Air.
Welcome to another week's episode of Up in the Air. My name is Logan Westrope.
And I'm Kasey Rigner.
Kasey, what a crazy roller coaster in terms of temperatures we've seen this week. Temperatures were pretty chilly to start out. We warmed up thanks to a warm front that provided us with some thunderstorms throughout the week. Now we're just back in those cold temperatures, and it's provided me with a pretty nasty cold throughout the week. How about you? Are you staying healthy?
Yes, so you can stay on that side of the desk. I'll stay over here. I'm usually the first one to get sick and the last one to get better. So.
I keep washing my hands. It seems like I just can't win.
I trust you. I trust you. This week we have stories on FEMA with hurricanes, Arctic ice shelves, all that and more. But first, here's Update in the Air. A new study by researchers at the Australian National University, ANU, could help us understand how our planet was formed. Associate professor and PhD scholars are confident they now have first-hand proof that Earth's inner core is solid. They came up with a way to detect shear waves or J waves in the inner core, a type of wave which can only travel through solid objects. If their results are correct, the inner core shares some similar elastic properties with gold and platinum. The inner core is like a time capsule. If we understand it, we'll understand how the planet was formed and how it evolves. Inner core shear waves are so minuscule and feeble they can't be observed directly. Detecting them has been considered the holy grail of global seismology since scientists first predicted the inner core was solid back in the 1930s and 40s. Their so-called correlation wave field methods look at the similarities between signals at two receivers after a major earthquake, rather than the direct wave arrivals. The study shows these results can be used to indicate the existence of J waves and infer the shear wave speed in the inner core. While this specific information about shear waves is important, professors say what this research tells us about the inner core is even more exciting.
When it comes to climate change, many tend to think negatively towards the topic. But what if climate change could actually help to create more jobs? According to a new study, tests were ran to see if the impacts of cutting coal power plant jobs, while at the same time hiring new employees for an approach called bioenergy coupled with carbon capture and storage, also known as BECCS. The model indicates that it would not only retain the 42,000 jobs currently held in the coal industry, but in addition it would help to create 22,000 jobs in the forestry and transportation sector by the year 2050. BECCS is a proposed technology specialized in carbon capture and helping to reduce the release of greenhouse gases. Though there are some limitations such as not considering potential substitution of the coal with other low-carbon options like renewables, along with the model not including any equilibrium in the economy. Hopes are in store as this could in turn ease the transition for coal workers who could potentially lose their jobs in the coming future.
For each year during the past quarter century, the world's oceans have absorbed an amount of energy that is 150 times the energy humans produce as electricity annually, according to a study conducted by researchers at Princeton and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego. The researchers found that Earth is more sensitive to fossil fuel emissions than previously thought. Scientists know that the ocean takes up roughly 90% of all the excess energy produced as Earth warms, so knowing the actual amount of energy makes it possible to estimate the surface warming we can expect, said co-author Ralph Keeling, a Scripps oceanography geophysicist. The researchers' findings suggest that if society is to avert temperatures from rising above that mark, emissions of carbon dioxide, the chief greenhouse gas produced by human activities, must be reduced by 25% compared to what was previously estimated. Respondi and her co-authors used Scripps' high-precision measurements of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the air to determine how much heat the oceans have stored during the time span they studied. They measured ocean heat by looking at the combined amount of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the air, a quantity called atmospheric potential oxygen, or APO for short. By comparing the changes in APO they observed with the changes expected due to fossil fuel use and carbon dioxide uptake, the researchers were able to calculate how much APO spread from the ocean becoming warmer. The amount corresponds the heat energy content of the ocean.
With multiple U.S. landfalling hurricanes now in the past, rebuilding near the coastlines may have many worried about what the future could have in store. As we saw this year, Hurricane Michael devastated the Florida Panhandle coast with nearly 20-foot storm surge and winds of up to 155 miles per hour. This left nearly two-thirds of homes demolished with another 10% severely damaged. Mexico Beach, one of the worst areas to get hit, is an example how FEMA's flood maps, which are part of the Troubled National Flood Insurance Program, have been denoted as failing for many homes living near water. There has been a noticeable decrease of accuracy with the mappings of these areas. Reports show that FEMA fails to factor in climate change and how global warming would affect our weather patterns, leading to an increase of disasters over time. Andy Coburn, the Associate Director of the Program for the Study of Developed Shorelines at Western Carolina University, says, "It almost provides us a false sense of security in terms of allowing people to understand what their flood vulnerability is. As our atmosphere warms, storms will be able to hold more moisture, leading to more flooding in these flood-prone areas." Welcome back to the show.
We now turn to a package from Matt Honig on how weather affects CATA transportation.
You've seen their iconic red and white buses travel all over the State College region. They help you commute and even allow Penn State students to ride for free on loops and links. The Center Area Transportation Authority, better known as CATA, has a lot of challenges when it comes to transporting thousands of people on a daily basis. One of those challenges is how to operate when the weather turns severe. There are many factors and situations the CATA has to prepare for. I sat down with Chris Jordan, the operations manager at CATA, and Jacqueline Sheeter, CATA's public relations specialist, to discuss just how the public transit company is able to operate.
We do actually see an increase in ridership during whenever weather is bad, and especially whenever you're talking more of the rural routes or the smaller routes, because there are a lot of people on those routes who choose to drive or it's not the student corridors, which we already have kind of a certain capacity on. But whenever you look at the routes where people have other options, they choose to leave their car at home that day and take public transportation. So yes, we do see an increase. It's not a big increase, but it's a small increase.
Yeah, I live out in Bollesburg, so I see that a lot. So I'll drive to work every day, but if it snows, I'm the first one on the bus. And I can tell there's a lot more riding on those days as well.
In general, we do not change our operations. I can tell you that whenever weather is severe enough, we will not run on time. We will run late, or we're doing our best all the time. But in general, we do not adjust based on weather alone. Now, last year, or actually the last 2 years, Penn State is actually closed for a couple days or closed for the bulk of a day. And we realized that we do not need to have all of the buses that we would normally have out on a given day.
If Penn State is closed, CATA may stop running its campus routes, such as the Blue Loop and the White Loop. It will continue to run its community service routes in order to get those who are not affiliated with the university where they need to be. They may be able to use those extra buses to assist the community service routes and maintain a decent schedule.
And of course, safety is our biggest concern in severe weather. So hence the reasons why we're running late, because we're taking our time, we're being safe with everyone. So we always appreciate everyone's patience during those times.
As we attempt to keep schedules, at the same time, drivers also know that there is no need, especially given the safety concern, to maintain a schedule. The state and local townships do a really good job of trying to clear all the major corridors first, which is where we run a majority of the time. At the same time, we do also run secondary corridors, which are not cleaned or taken care of as well. So our drivers in the moment will contact dispatch. They'll let them know either I can't serve this section of a route. I may have to delay running at this time. And we've done that. We have parked buses for a period of a half hour, an hour, until we know that there's treatment being placed on the roadways.
CATA asks, when the weather isn't cooperating, riders should have patience and plan ahead, as buses will be behind schedule. After all, their top priority is your safety. For Up in the Air, I'm Matt Honig.
Welcome back to the show. Kasey, it was a beautiful weekend to get out and see some of the fall foliage here across central Pennsylvania. had a lot of reds, oranges, yellows. Did you get any pictures this weekend?
I did. I went to visit some family in Hershey this past weekend, and the car ride there was awesome.
Oh, nice.
The leaves were amazing. The mountains, awesome. It was definitely screaming fall, that's for sure.
That's awesome. And I'm sure some of the chilly weather that we've had here across central Pennsylvania might continue. We're going to check up with Mike Susko, who's on the climate wall this week. Mike, are we going to see a pattern continuing like this, or are we going to have some changes in store?
Well, Logan, we do have changes on the way, but before we get to that, let's take a quick glimpse at our average high for this time of year, 53 degrees with our average low, 36 degrees. And I want you folks at home to keep these two numbers in mind, especially the 53 and 36 degrees, because later on we might see our highs are going to be near one of them, and it may not be the one you are thinking. But first, our record high for November 8th was 72 degrees back in 1975. 16 was the record low back in 1991. And the temperature outlook for November 13th to November 19th is showing us most of the eastern part of the country is going to be below average. An exception, though, will be in southern Florida, and out west we will see above normal temperatures thanks to an upper level ridge that will be allowing the temperatures in California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington to get a little bit above average. Not much, though. And again, here in Florida, southern Florida, they will also see slightly above average for this time period. Otherwise, again, most of the country is in blue, especially along the Gulf Coast, all the way up into the Great Lakes region, those darker blues. And even in the Northeast, we are still seeing those darker blues here in State College and Pennsylvania. We are also dealing, again, dark blue, so we will see a chillier pattern during this time period. For the precip outlook during the same time frame, our below normal precip will be out towards the west, and our above normal precip will be out here in the east and along the Gulf Coast. The below normal precip, will be focused more on Idaho and in Montana's area, otherwise slightly above below normal for the Rocky Mountains, and above normal precip for, again, the Gulf Coast, especially in Texas and in southern Florida. That will be going up along the mid-Atlantic coastline and into the northeast, including us here in Pennsylvania, where we will be seeing slightly above normal precip for this time period, again, November 13th towards the 19th. The drought monitor across the nation showing us what we pretty much have been expecting from the last couple of weeks here. The most intense droughts are out by the Four Corners region here, with the exceptional drought in this darker red here. We are seeing a little bit of drought out in Oregon as well, but here in Pennsylvania we are dealing with no drought whatsoever. Time for your fall foliage report here. From the Foliage Network, we are seeing Pennsylvania is finally at peak color here for most of us in that darker red, and even a little bit past peak, especially up near Wilkes-Barre and Scranton. They have already seen, again, their fall foliage peak for this time of year. We are still, though, near Philadelphia and York, just about to reach that period over the next couple of days. And this weekend is a good weekend to go out as long as you don't mind the cold. We always see temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s for Saturday and Sunday, and this is why I want you to keep in mind that 36 degrees for that low, because our average low is 36, and our highs for Saturday and Sunday are only going to be a couple degrees warmer. So it will be a very chilly period this weekend here. Now, Saturday is going to be a little interesting as far as the weather goes, because Friday night a system will be passing its way through the region, and that will bring us rain and even some snow showers to the upper elevations. And depending on the exact timing of the storm, some of that could linger into Saturday. But as Saturday afternoon progresses, we will see decreasing clouds throughout the afternoon and evening. Saturday night, we will see the wind chills, though, get down into the teens, and that's because as the system makes its way off to our north and east, continuing on Saturday, the winds will be up. So we will be seeing wind chills on the chilly side, making it feel like, again, upper teens, lower 20s, Saturday night into Sunday, with partly cloudy skies on Sunday for a high of 40. So Logan and Kasey, we do have a change on the way, but depending if you like the cold or the warmth will depend whether or not you like it.
I am already dreading the cold and potential snow. It's a good thing I have my winter jackets now.
Yeah, at least we can bundle up. As long as the sun is out, I'm okay with the cold.
Exactly. Well, we'll tune in next week and hopefully see some warming trends on the way. But that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Up in the Air. I'm Logan Westrope.
And I'm Kasey Rigner.
Be sure to catch us next week, Up in the Air.